Greetings, loved ones. Sexual assault is any type of sexual activity or contact that occurs without consent and can take many different forms, including rape, attempted rape, sexual coercion, unwanted touching, any type of sexual contact with someone who cannot give consent, such as someone who is a minor or unable to respond. Today we're going to discuss the difficult issue about why teens don't discuss sexual assault. Help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, hit the like button, notification bell, and share these messages with others. You could save a life. So let's discuss sexual assault against a teenager. We're going to define this again. Sexual assault is any type of sexual activity or contact that occurs without consent and can take many forms, including rape, attempted rape, sexual coercion, unwanted touching, any type of sexual contact with someone who cannot give consent, such as someone who is a minor or unable to respond. Researchers have documented that the traumatic effects of sexual assault can include helplessness, like having a continuous feeling of fear and vulnerability, betrayal, no longer being able to trust the good intentions of others, stigma, feelings of secrecy, shame, and or damage related to the sexual assault, traumatic sexualization, which is associating sexuality and sexual behavior with fear, pain, and coercion instead of pleasure, intimacy, and choice. The trauma of sexual assault may play a role in disclosure. Sexual assault remains the most underreported crime for both teens and adults. In a representative study of college women who had been raped or attempted rape, few, that's 5%, reported the incident to law enforcement, citing that they did not want others to know, they feared hostility from the police, they feared reprisals from the aggressor, or they did not know how to report, among other reasons, although some reported to their friends. Similar results were found in another survey that showed low reporting rates and related disclosure challenges. So why do teens not disclose sexual assault? Adolescent sexual assault is often not revealed to anyone for many years, and some people can never reveal. When it happens, disclosure is often a process, not a one-time event. For example, a person might first give clues about an assault, and if the answer is supportive, then more information is shared. Over time, they can fully reveal the details of the events that happened to them. Common reasons for not disclosing the sexual assault include not wanting family or others to know, not being able to prove the incident occurred, fear that the police will not take it seriously, or fear of hostility from the police. According to the Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network and the Department of Justice's Sex Offenders National Public website, other reasons teens do not disclose, including emotional pain. They're trying to avoid thinking about, remembering, or talking about the sexual assault because it is emotionally painful. Shame. Sexual trauma is associated with a high degree of stigma in our society, and most teens are embarrassed to let others know they have experienced sexual violence. Not being able to protect themselves during the assault leaves many teens feeling weak, ashamed, and even that they deserved what happened. They may also fear being embarrassed or criticized for actual or perceived sexual behavior. Another reason they don't disclose is fear of not being believed. Although sexual assault is a serious crime, it is often mischaracterized as consensual sex. Teenage victims may fear that they will not be believed about the assault or worry that others will defend the aggressor. Then there's the fear of being blamed. It is common for victims of sexual assault to face scrutiny regarding what they did to cause the incident. For example, what they were wearing, if they were using drugs or alcohol, etc., instead of focusing on the lack of consent. Then there's the fear of punishment or retaliation. Teens may avoid disclosing because they fear parental punishment for breaking the rules, for example, using drugs or alcohol before the assault, being out after curfew, or in a place that is not allowed, or meeting people online. Teens may also fear retaliation from potentially violent aggressors or social ostracism from the aggressors who are just as popular as their friends. Another reason teens do not disclose sexual abuse is feeling partially responsible. When the aggressor is an acquaintance, victims are more likely to feel responsible for the assault and are slow to reveal it. Some teens may believe that they did something to contribute to the assault. For example, if they have been sexually active with the offender in the past, were flirting with the offender before the assault, or were using drugs or alcohol when the sexual assault occurred. Such confusion and fear can diminish teens' ability to recognize that the aggressor is responsible and not them. And then there are other traumatic reactions. Feeling shocked, dazed, confused, and maybe not remembering some details of the event can all be traumatic responses to sexual assault. However, teens may fear that no one will believe them if they do not remember all of the details, or they may not want to think or talk about the painful event. Then there's limits to confidentiality. Adolescents are more aware than younger children that sexual assault is serious and that if they tell anyone, authorities may be notified and involved. This, combined with the above concerns, may prevent teens from disclosing a sexual assault. Then there's the fear of nothing being done. This is the truth here where we live in Honduras. And data indicates that less than 2% of reported incidents of sexual assault lead to a successful prosecution of the aggressor. Another reason minors do not disclose sexual assault is cultural or religious reasons. Some persons' religious beliefs can contribute to a teen's fears about punishment or ostracism. Cultural differences can also influence a teen's trust in various institutions such as law enforcement, as well as how a family deals with a crisis. But there are benefits of disclosure. Teens who experience sexual assault and its aftermath may have many compelling reasons not to disclose. The individual has final authority over whether to disclose, and if so, when, how, and to whom. For those who choose to disclose, supports and benefits include medical services. You will receive immediate medical examination, which provides adolescents with the ability to preserve forensic evidence of the assault, as well as early identification, prevention, or intervention related to sexually transmitted infections or pregnancy. You can receive mental health services. Sexual assault is associated with potentially serious and lasting mental health consequences, including post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, substance abuse, and other problems such as adverse effects on school performance or family relationships and between colleagues. Evidence-based treatments are available to help teens recover and prevent these long-term negative effects. And other services available are legal services. Some teens and their families want to seek remedies within the legal system. Disclosure can be made at any time, but statutes of limitations restrict the time period during which legal options are available. And I want to insert here that when an adult anywhere receives information that a child, a minor, younger than 18 years old, has been sexually abused or assaulted, you are required by law and by God to inform the authorities and continue the process for justice. We talk about that in other episodes that we have. You can look through our playlist, but you are required by law to report. So let's talk about support for teen disclosures after sexual assault. You can support and protect teens by doing the following. 1. Have conversations about sexual health. I know this is a difficult subject to talk about, but we have to talk about it. If we remain silent, we give the devil power to harm our children and our families. So we have to talk about it. Talk to teens about consent, non-coercion, honesty, shared values, protection, and pleasure in relationships and sexuality. Encourage honest and open communication. Tell teens that they can talk to you about difficult situations and that you will be there to help them even when they break a rule without judging. Talk about what-if situations like sexual assault, bullying, substance abuse, and other difficult scenarios so teens know you're comfortable with these kinds of conversations. And I'm going to insert again here. I know you're not comfortable with these kinds of conversations, but we have to be comfortable about these kinds of conversations in order to protect our children. I want you to know the truth about sexual abuse is that it is never your fault. I'm going to repeat that. Sexual abuse, sexual assault is never your fault. According to the CDC, over half of all children in the world, that's 1 billion children, experience violence every year. The question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. If you're a victim of violence, I want you to know there is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love. And most of all, I want you to know that you are not alone. If you're suffering violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk about supporting teens after sexual assault. Until then, God bless you.